All right, hey guys. We are going to be in our journals today, and you are going to go to page 4 where your pink foldable is. So, one thing I want to talk about is your doors that open up your foldable, where it says no equal sign, distribute, and combine like terms. So, when we are dealing with no equal sign, this is called an expression. Okay, so notice on the other door it says simplifying expressions. So with expressions, guys, it is not like an equation. Okay, an expression, okay, is something you can only get down to its simplest terms. And so that's why we simplify expressions. We don't solve expressions. And we know it's an expression if it doesn't have an equal sign. Okay. And there are only two things you can do. You can distribute and you can combine like terms. And we'll talk about those things. Some vocab words we need to go over. So a coefficient is a number that multiplies to a variable. So in that case, it is like the 4x, or if you wanted to say like 2x squared. Okay, so the 2 is the coefficient. Okay, and then the 4 over here is the coefficient there. Okay, it's the number in front. It's the big number in front. A constant is a standalone number. So meaning it is just like if I had 2x plus 4, the constant is the positive 4. A variable is a letter that represents an unknown number. So a lot of y'all, when you say, I understood math until they threw in a letter. Well, a letter is an unknown number. Okay, they're just throwing a little mystery in there. Okay, so if that's the case, that is your X, that is your Y. Sometimes it's your XY, right? Sometimes you have those variables. Okay, X times Y. All right, term. Term is a number or a number and variable together that is separated by an addition or subtraction sign. So with that being said, that is like if I had 2x squared plus 2x minus 4. There are 3 terms there, okay? Every term is separated by an addition or subtraction sign. Okay, so like this is one term. This is the second term. This is the third term. So it's just every number or every number and variable together, okay? And then a like term, it has to have the same exact variable and degree. A degree is just the exponent, okay? So another way of saying degree is just the exponent. Okay, and a variable, obviously, it has to have the same letter, okay? All right, so coming over here, so notes, okay, when you do not have an equal sign, you cannot get to a single solution. All you can do is simplify. So a lot of times you're going to see this word simplify, or you're going to see which expression is equivalent, okay? A lot of those times it just means you can only do 2 things, distribute and combine like terms, or combine like terms. Okay, but those are the only 2 steps you can do when it says simplify. Okay, distribute, this just means multiply. Okay, all right, so if I distributed a paper to you guys, I'm going to pass it out to everyone in the room, but anything or any person outside the room in the hallways, I wouldn't pass our paper to them because they are not inside of our room. So think of it that way. So when I'm looking at this distributing, okay, this A is going to distribute to the B and the C, everything to the inside of the parentheses, okay? And when I am distributing this A to everything, I'm going to multiply them, okay? So again, you should only be distributing something inside the parentheses, just like I would only distribute class notes to everyone inside of my Algebra 1 class. I wouldn't distribute a Algebra 1 note to someone in geometry, okay? And then combine like terms. So combine is just another word of saying like add, okay? You can only combine those with the same variables and to the same degree, okay? So x's and x squareds, guys, are different. Because this means just x alone. And this means x times x. Okay? All right, and you don't have to write that down, but I just wanted to write it down and explain it. Okay? So if x stood for 2, okay, like I said, because a variable is an unknown value, if x stands for 2, this means that this is just 2. But this is 2 times 2. Therefore, this value is actually 4 if x stands for 2. Okay, so regardless of all that, that goes beyond. Okay, when we are combining like terms, we can only combine those with the same variable and to the same degree. Okay, so let's do some practice. Okay, so simplify. Again, there's that word. If I see the word simplify, I can only do 2 things. I can distribute and combine. So when I distribute, I'm looking for numbers outside of the parenthesis. Okay, but when I'm looking at my parentheses, I don't see a number here and I don't see a number here. Well, I do see a number there, but it's just imaginary. It's a positive 1. Okay, but I don't have to distribute the 1. So with that being said, with there no number being in front, I just need to combine like terms. And guys, what I do for this is I do different colors and shapes. Okay, so we're going to do pink, blue, and purple. Okay, so again, first step is to distribute, but if there's no number outside the parentheses, I don't distribute, I just combine. So again, like I said, x squareds. Okay, I'm just going to go to the first term and I'm going to circle it. I've got to go find the other x squareds. So in this case, it is 2x squared. So when I am combining those like terms, guys, I just add the number in front. So I have 5x squareds here and then 2x squareds here. So therefore, altogether, I have 7x squareds. So then I'm going to move on. I'm going to go to the next term. So we have x's. So this is x to the power of 1. Okay, so I'm going to go find the other terms that have just an x. So in this case, it's 3 and 5. Okay, so notice I am also, and this is important, so our flashing lights are going off, I also put in the sign in front. It is important that you do that because the sign in front describes what kind of number we have. Do we have a positive number or do we have a negative number? Okay, all right, so we are going to add a positive 3 and a positive 5, which gets us a positive 8x. And then last but not least, we have our constants. Remember, a constant is just a number without a letter. Okay, so again, I'm going to make sure I realize that this is a negative 7. Okay, so when I add them together, when I combine them with the other constants, I need to make sure I understand that that is a negative 7. So then I come over here. Whoops, we're going to use triangles. And that's a positive 9. So again, I'm over here on Desmos. Okay, so if you type in desmos.com, it'll let you have a graphing calculator. It can also treat as your calculator. So I have a negative 7 plus 9, and I get a 2. Okay, so I have a plus 2, and that's the answer. All right, and that's the answer. I'm not going to get one single answer. It's going to be an expression as well. It's just an expression in its simplest term. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so right here, again, no equal sign. It's an expression. All I can do is simplify. So I can do 2 steps. I can distribute. So I'm looking for a number outside the parentheses. So in this case, I do have one. Okay, it's this negative 4. Notice I am circling the negative because a negative is describing the 4 as a negative number. Okay, yes, that is a minus sign. They are the same. Okay, so I'm going to distribute that negative 4. So that's negative 4. Okay, times 3. That's negative 12. we have -4 times, this is a negative imaginary 1. So a -1. That is a positive 4x. And then I'm going to bring down everything in front. So 1 plus 6x, because I did not use those two things. I don't need to forget about them. So then now, once I'm done distributing, then I combine like terms. So my first term is a constant. So I need to go find the other constant, making sure I circle the sign in front. So that is a 1 plus a -12. So that's a -11. And then I have 6x plus a 4x. So that is a 10x. And that is our answer. All right, this one right here, a little bit challenging because there's a fraction. Do not be scared of the fraction, okay? It is just a number. And luckily for you in Desmos, you can write a fraction. So again, no equal sign, I can only do two things. I'm going to distribute that 3/4. Okay, so again, I'm going to distribute the 3/4 to the 12. So 3 divided by 4. A fraction is just a division sign. I've got to go off to the right of it and multiply it by 12. So that's 9x. 3/4. 3 divided by 4. Go off to the right, multiplying it by a -8. That is a -8, so that's -6. All right, but then I have to distribute this -3 because notice I have two sets of parentheses, meaning I'm going to multiply twice. So I have -3 times 1, which is a -3, a -3 times 2x, which is a -6x. Once I'm done distributing, now I combine like terms. So I have a 9x, a -6x, so that is a 3x. Again, if you don't know what that is, you can come over here. And when I'm combining, I just add the numbers in front. So it's 9 plus a -6. Plus a -6. There we go. And that's a 3x. Or yes, and then we're going to box in our constants. So that's -6 plus a -3, which is a -9. And that is our answer. That is our expression. All right, last but not least, sometimes you are going to find the perimeter of triangles and all of your sides are expressions. Okay, so remember the definition of perimeter is adding all the sides. So if you don't remember that and you want to put that down, you can put add all sides. So I'm just going to take every side of this triangle and write it out. So we have, 3/4, not 4, 2x plus 5/6 plus 3x minus 1/6, and then plus 2x minus 1/3. So again, I am putting these plus signs right here in between each side of the triangle because I am finding the perimeter. I'm adding all the sides. So then now, there's no multiplying, guys. I just need to combine all my like terms. So I have 3/2x. So I'm going to go through and find all of my x's. So I have a positive 3x and then a positive 2x. So I'm going to come over here in Desmos, and I don't know fractions. If you don't know fractions well and adding fractions, which is hard, use Desmos, okay? All right, it is just a calculator website that you can use. So 3 divided by 2, and then I'm going to add 3 and add 2. I get 6.5. Here's a beauty thing, guys. I'm going to zoom in right here, okay? You see, so I have, it's a decimal right now. What if you don't want a decimal? This button right here that has a box over a box, if you press that button, it'll turn your number, your decimal, into a fraction. So that is 13 over 2x. Okay? And if you don't have your Chromebook, you can always use someone else's, or you can use the handheld calculators. I am okay with whatever you want to use. Okay? All right. So let's zoom in a little. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to add the constants. Okay, that's 3 fractions. That doesn't sound fun to me. So I'm just going to go in Desmos, and 5 divided by 6, go off to the right, plus a negative 1 divided by 6, go off to the right, plus a 1 divided by 3. And you get 1. So it's just plus 1. And that is your answer, guys. So, in conclusion, okay, the only 2 steps you need to know is if you don't have an equal sign, it's just distribute, which means multiply, and you combine the like terms, okay? So, Miss Baker is going to go through the activity with you, okay? You are going to first cut out all of your squares and put all of your expressions on the left-hand side first, leaving enough room for you to simplify the expression over here. So you will show your work on the right side of those. On the bottom half of your paper, you're going to put all of the equations, meaning they will have an equal sign. Okay, and you don't know how to solve those yet, so we're going to leave those blank. Okay, but the first thing you should glue down is all of your expressions. Okay, and then after you're done gluing those down, now you glue in your equations, the ones with equal signs, on the bottom of your paper. Show your work by simplifying the expressions on right here on the next to the right of it, okay? All right. So again, expressions, distribute, combine only. All right. Bye, guys.